So this week was not fun. I mean, really it wasn't. Let me explain. So some people on the Discord server will know about this. Link in the description. Come on, I know you want to join the Discord. Go ahead, click it. So I have been having a big bug in my game, and I mean a massive one. It's that type of bug that even when you try to slap it or eradicate it, it just stays and doesn't go away, no matter what you do. Now, this particular bug was very tricky to understand, but I guess let me explain the bug first. So on the screen right now, I will play a clip of the bug itself that I pre-recorded a few days ago to show to a friend. But basically, my character would just be running and jumping around, having a great time, and for some reason, at one moment when I jumped, he would land, but bounce off the ground. It was very weird. Now, this bug itself, when I first launched the game, wouldn't appear, and I could, jump around, run around, it was fine. But after a bit of playing around, once I jumped and tried to land, I would bounce again. So my character was just bouncing off the ground, and I needed to get rid of this bug because it cannot be in the game. So this bug had to be eliminated because it would genuinely break my game, and the gameplay wouldn't be what I want it to be. So the first issue was me having to figure out what was causing the bug. This is usually the biggest issue that people encounter, actually figuring out what is causing the bug, because it makes sense. Once you've found what is causing the issue, you can just fix it or remove it. Pretty simple. But actually finding the issue was harder than I thought. At first, I figured it was something to do with the collision box of the player. So I played around with the capsule collider, but no, the bug was still there. I tried to shrink the capsule collider, tried to increase it, tried to change it around, even tried using a different collider. It didn't work at all. The bug was still there. I also tried changing the model because I figured maybe it's the model that was causing the issue. But once again, the bug is still there, it doesn't disappear. And then tried using different physics materials on my ground and on my blocks because I was using 3D cubes. Still nothing. Tried using different objects. Once again, still nothing. I also played around with the ground detection, but still, once again, nothing. So genuinely, after 2 or 3 days, I was really sad and bummed about this situation because I knew the game would not function if this bug was in the game. But thankfully the next day I sat down, brought my head to it, and just tried messing around with things and actually fixed the issue. So I did a couple things to fix it. First of all, I set the ground detection to high. Now previously it was high, however the bug was still there. But I decided to change it to high nonetheless, maybe this would make it better, and it kind of did. Another few things I did is I've got a value called step smooth. Now I decreased that value from 5 to 1. Now this is usually used for ramps, so whenever the player encounters ramps, the higher the value, the less jitteriness there is on the ramp itself. But I figured decreasing the value could help with the ground detection, and it did, because it basically removed the bug completely. I also changed the rigid body a bit. What I mean by that is I increased the mass and changed the gravity a little bit. It helped out. Later on in the episode though, I removed it and realized that it was unnecessary for me to change the mass. Either way, I did it at the start and it worked fine. So thankfully, the bug was gone. But it did take me 3 days and it did waste a lot of time when I could have been developing other things. Okay, so since the last episode, I asked you guys to create some concept art for Jude, obviously if you wanted to. Now you're still welcome to do some. However, I got 3 really good submissions and I'm going to mention them right now. So one was by A Bad Artist. Now his Twitter will be in the description below. Here it is on the screen right now. You can see it looks really awesome. He actually did 2 different sketches, which is even more awesome. You can go check him out. He also does commissions and stuff, so really awesome from that. Another submission I got is on the screen right now by Dudegram. I will leave his Instagram in the description below once again. He does some really awesome drawings on his Instagram, so go ahead and give him a follow, check him out. His art is also really cool. Now he actually drew this by hand, which is even more awesome, so check him out as well. Okay, so the final one I got was by Cartoon Coffee. It's on the screen right now, and this one's really awesome. I genuinely really love the style from Jude, and I'm probably gonna use this one. I don't know if I'm gonna obviously just pick this one or something like that. It's just really awesome, so I might pick parts from it. Anyway, his Instagram is in the description below. Check him out as well. He posts regularly, and he's a really talented artist, just as every single person in here. So thank you all of you guys for making this art. I really appreciate it. Now, if you would like to make some, once again, go hit me up on Twitter, Discord, or my Instagram, and thank you for all of that. Okay, so after spending a ton of time on bug fixing, I started to try and develop the feel for the game. Now what I mean is I basically started playing around with the lighting of the map and the general layout of things. Don't worry though, I will have an episode dedicated to me building the map because I've got some really cool ideas, but that's going to require a whole episode of its own. So this is just me trying to kind of get a general feel for the game. So I started downloading some skyboxes. Now, I needed the skybox to be night themed, right? Because my game is kind of based during the night. And I couldn't find many good ones. I did end up finding a decent one, but I will be changing it later because I'm still not a fan of it and it doesn't look completely right for my game. But once again, I will be changing it as I find something myself. This also meant I needed to play around with the overall lighting of the game and of the scene itself, in fact, so I spent some time on this. Now, I started by changing the intensity, color, and some other values of the light, because I already had a light in the game. Now, once again, I'll probably play around with this further once I change the skybox and once the game develops, just to sort of get a general feel for the game. I then decided to add some 3D cubes to act as buildings. Now, these buildings were just for me to test the player jumping in between them, and so I can see if the flow of the movement is what I wanted it to be, because once again, as I mentioned previously, the player is going to be jumping between buildings and it's meant to be fast-paced and the movement's meant to be fun. So I was playing around with that, and actually I spent quite a lot of time because the movement was in a pretty good place already, and it was just fun, you know, jumping from building to building, even though these were, you know, cubes or whatnot. And after some testing, I decided to keep changing the movement because I wanted it to feel right. It needed to be what I want it to be. Now, in every game, mechanics are very key to getting a good game feel, and that's what I wanted to kind of work on, is getting the movement really nice and smooth. Now, previously, in the previous episode, I did that, but once again, I wanted it to be even smoother and even nicer. So, after just some changing of values, playing around with it, changing some stuff, deleting some stuff, you know, just generally speaking, working on the movement, I finally ended up with some really nice movement, and it's just really enjoyable to play around with it. Now, it was so fun that it got to the point that I was jumping between these cubes, or buildings, as you might call it, for minutes. I mean, like, genuinely, I spent like 15 minutes maybe just jumping around while doing other stuff, because it's just really fun. After changing the movement, I wanted to do some testing to see how far I can actually jump. Now, in my case, you can sprint in my game, so obviously when you sprint, you can jump further. If you just walk, you can't jump as far. So I was just testing the limits of my jumping to see how that would work. Also with that, I wanted to check if the bug that I previously had would come back. This was really important because I can't have this bug come back. It was so terrible, and thankfully I fixed it, and thankfully after testing it did not come back, which is good. Now the room itself is also quite dark because, you know, I made the lighting dark because it's nighttime, so I decided to test my blender skills. Now, originally I was just going to make some lamps and some basic kind of lighting, but I decided to open up Blender and started modeling some lamps. Now this was pretty easy because I was just using the generic shapes Blender has inside it, and it didn't take too long. Here is a quick little speed art of me making it. It was actually really simple. I just used some cylinders, some cubes, some spheres, some cones, and just generally all the basic shapes. I also extruded them a little bit, and basically I ended up with this lamp. Pretty good, and it's gonna do for now. Once again, I probably will be changing it, so this is just like a placeholder, I guess. So I decided to import it into Blender and basically just attach the point light to it. Once again, I changed the values. On the screen right now, you can see the values that I set it to. It's pretty generic, pretty basic, but it adds some lighting to the game and makes it look better, basically. Now, after this, I decided to try and work on the model. Now, I'm not gonna lie, in the end, I have decided that I'm gonna get someone else to make the model because I can't model for like, genuinely, I can't. So I watched some tutorials on sculpting, and they were good tutorials, but because I'm so terrible, I couldn't get anything good out of it. So I genuinely watched hours of tutorials, and I'll leave those links in the description below, because there's some good tutorials, and I ended up with these things. Now you can see them on the screen right now, and they are terrifying. I mean, genuinely terrifying. Now I did end up with a pretty good looking one, and I mean pretty good, it was very basic. I don't have that anymore because I accidentally deleted it, and yeah, basically we just have these atrocities of a face here. So once again, I will get someone else to make the model because I can't do it very well, and I need the model to be looking spicy. So if any of you are good modelers, hit me up on my Instagram or my Twitter or my Discord, all links in the description below, and you can go ahead and we can maybe sort something out, I don't know. Either way, that was my end of my sculpting career in Blender. Okay guys, so we are in the game, and I figured I'd show you this because I haven't just yet. So this is what the sky looks like that I've added in currently. It's sort of like night themed, and I've also dimmed the lights, which I talked about earlier. So currently I've got these cubes here. Now these kind of are meant to be buildings at the moment, right? So you can go ahead and jump between them because that's going to be the premise of the game, where you're in this, you know, city, jumping around buildings, trying to like lead your story. So it's pretty cool, and it's pretty actually fun because of the like long jump that you have. But I also added a few things that I'm going to talk about right now. So to start off with, we have this jump right here. Now this jump I can't actually make by just jumping like this because it's too far. Now the character is going to have a dash anyway, so you'll be able to just kind of dash over it. But because momentarily I don't have a dash, I decided to add this other feature where you can grab onto the wall. So if I do this right, I should be able to jump and then grab onto the wall. So let's go ahead and give it a go. There we go. As you can see, I can jump, press E, and climb onto the wall. So let me just show you that again. Hopefully I don't mess it up. And there we go. We can climb on like so. It's a little bit buggy at the moment, but it does the job. and that's the sort of point that you can grab onto buildings. Now, I've only added this kind of feature to this building right here, where you can, you know, just grab on like so. But overall, I think it's a good addition. So it kind of leaves it up to the player on what they want to do. Do they just want to jump? Do they want to dash? They can always grab on if they don't make the jump. So it's pretty kind of fun to play around with like so. A couple other things that I added. My friend actually suggested that you should be able to swing from these lamps. Now I haven't added that option yet, but if you would like that, go ahead and vote on the poll in the top right corner. But I also added ladders. Now, you won't actually need to use ladders to climb buildings because you'll be able to just climb them naturally, and you can also like dash up them. But I decided, because there's going to be a load of like skyscrapers, apartments, and loads of big buildings, usually they have some ladders on the roofs to get like to higher places, and I decided to sort of add these ladders as an option for the player. So normally you'll probably be able to just jump and grab on here, which I haven't just added yet, but there is a ladder though, so you can take the ladder, and if you walk up to it, you can press E, you grab on, and then you can just basically climb up like so. And there we go, we're up now. Now, I'm also going to add so you can just climb these walls up here and stuff, but these are just basic ladders. You can also go down them, like so you can go down if you wish, which, not going to lie, is not necessary, because once you climb it, you can just jump off, but it's a little feature that you can just go ahead and add, and I think it just makes the game a lot more whole. So other than that, this is sort of currently the mood. As you can see, it's quite dark here, and then it gets lighter because of the lamps, and I'm still going to be playing around with the lighting and everything, but that's basically all I've done so far. So anyway guys, hope you have enjoyed this video. I know it hasn't been as interesting as other ones. In the next couple of episodes, I'm really excited to be adding cool like abilities, attacks, and kind of building the city. But either way, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below if you have any suggestions for the game, or if you enjoyed the video. I will be replying to all of you guys, or as many of you guys as I can. And I love you all guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye!